In this video, we're going to take a look at 10 psychological lessons you're not taught in school. Psychology is the study of thoughts and emotions projected through our conscious and the unconscious. It helps us to reveal a lot about the people and even animals around us. Psychology reveals how people vote during elections, the correlation between the personality of students and the field in which they are likely to find a career path, and whether people are likely to develop a mental disease. But psychology is not a subject that is given top priority in school. And even when it is, the course is a tad academic. And in doing so, students miss out on a lot of important lessons. But what exactly are those psychological lessons we're not taught in school? We'll take a look at that shortly. But before we do, we'd like to remind you that these videos come to you for free. And in our endeavor to bring you closer to the way people are, how they think, and how you can relate with them, you can join us too. You can show some support to us by subscribing to our channel with the notification button. Also, don't forget to like our videos. Okay, if you're all said and done, let's move on to the 10 psychological lessons you're not taught in school. 1. Pratfall effect. It goes without saying that there is no one who is immune to making mistakes, but you might have noticed that different people are taken differently after they make a mistake. For example, if a highly attractive female makes a mistake, then people are likely to say that making the mistake only makes her more likable, as her flaw reveals that she's only human after all. On the other hand, if a person whose personality is thought to be of average standing makes a mistake, then people are more likely to hold that person in a more negative light, saying that he was never bright to begin with. Pratfall effect, which is also known as blemishing effect, was first described in 1966 by Elliot Aronson. He devised an experiment to show this phenomena. 2. People relate more with personal stories than research. When you are getting your point across to others while having conversations, people will find it easier to relate to you if you talk about personal experiences rather than pointing towards a particular research. This is because of the fact that while you're talking about your own experiences, people will draw parallels with your stories, helping them open up about their own. Talking purely from a statistical point of view makes it difficult for others to relate to what you're saying. Besides, the research will not have included you or the person you're conversing with. This leads people to question whether the inferences or conclusions derived from the research can be applicable to you. The same is true if you are delivering a presentation to an audience. The audience will find your talk much more engaging if you start with an anecdote, rather than a piece of research that might not have included them. 3. Nocebo effect. The nocebo effect is the opposite phenomenon of the placebo effect. In Latin, placebo refers to I will please. Say you are down and out with a fever. Somebody presents you with a sugar pill and says that this is actually medicine which will alleviate you from pain, and the pill has been clinically tried and tested. Although the sugar pill has no relation with healing your fever, your thought that the pill will work wonders will actually do you some good. In much the opposite way the nocebo effect works. If you're taking a pill for headache and someone warns that the pill has some terrible side effects, then you might observe the side effects even when the pill is not correlated with the ailment or the side effect at all. 4. We know how to do things we've never done before. Do you remember your first try at the game of darts, or kicking a football, or playing the game of cards, or tried making a swan in a latte art cup? Most people will tell you that they succeeded at these things in their first try. There is even a phrase for it known as beginner's luck, and this might well be true. When you have no preconceived notion of how to do things, you can actually do them quite easily. It is only after you have done them, succeeded at them, you feel that there is a certain technique that you have to master before you are a veteran. And it is during this phase of learning sophisticated techniques that people often tend to forget that there are learnings that are quite innate to them. 5. Handwritten letters are a lot better. In the world of instant messaging and emails, the art of writing letters can be thought to be something that is outdated. But the power of handwritten letters is pretty strong. Whether it be a letter you pen to your teacher on Teacher's Day, or you're showing your sense of gratitude to your friend for something he or she did, it has been found that a handwritten letter creates a better bonding between people. A research work has shown that people also find it hard to fake their emotions while writing a letter with their hand. In another research work, it was found that potential employers were less likely to lie to potential employees about the working conditions, opportunities of pay raise, etc., if these things were handwritten instead of typing in an email. 6. Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. Have you ever read a book and then found that everyone else was talking about it? Or that you've listened to a song and memorized it and then you hear it floating on the mouth of every other person? There is a psychological term for it, and it's known as the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. Actually, the term Baader-Meinhof doesn't come from the person who reported this phenomenon. Actually, the name comes from Baader-Meinhof Group, which was a far-left militant organization from Germany. A man named Terry Mulligan once reported in a newspaper column that soon after hearing the name of Baader-Meinhof Group, he had heard it from several sources. This created what is dubbed as a frequency bias. So if you've learned a new word, then you might see it popping in a newspaper more often than words that you already know. 7. Mere exposure. Our history of exposure to a particular type of food, or people, or things we use in our daily lives determines the choices we make in the future. We tend to gravitate towards people who share a certain history with us, which is why even within a city, there are various mini-cities where people from a common geographical origin live. If you're someone from India, you might be more comfortable ordering food from neighboring countries such as Sri Lanka and Nepal or Pakistan when you go out in a restaurant. Another way the exposure works is in the chances of scoring a date. So if you are regularly in the sight of a girl, then the chances of her going out with you on a date increases compared to asking a girl out when she's never seen you. 8. 80-20 principle. Some call it the Pareto principle, while others call it the law of the vital few, or the principle of factor sparsity. What this law essentially means is that 80% of the outcomes we generally see come more or less from 20% of the causes. For example, 80% of the sales of a particular company comes from 20% of its loyal customers. It was an Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto who showed that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by 20% of the Italians. This 80-20 principle also manifests in the wealth held by people in the world. Microsoft showed that 80% of system crashes in computers can be eliminated once we fix 20% of the top reported bugs, while it is reported that 80% of the world's wealth is held by the top 20% of earners. 9. Anchoring. Anchoring is a cognitive bias where a person's attitude towards a certain thing is influenced by a reference point or anchor. Say you've grown up in a place where the price of petrol is $2 US, and the rate has changed little in the time you grew up. But if you switch to another place where petrol is sold at a rate of $5 US, then your mind will immediately anchor towards the price of $2 US and might find $5 US unreasonable. On the other hand, a person who has always paid $5 US might not really give $2 US petrol a second thought. If you're looking to purchase a phone, then you might be tempted to buy it if it is placed alongside a really expensive model. The expensive model will act as an anchor and persuade you to buy the phone even if the price of the phone is higher than the market price. 10. Law of attraction. The law of attraction is a new belief that if you have positive thoughts in life, people will have more positive outlook on their lives and good things will happen to them. On the other hand, if people have more negative thoughts, the law of attraction states that this is an indicator towards bad and gloomy things that will take place. The law of attraction states that our thoughts are pure forms of energy, and if you have these energies in the most positive sense, then it will manifest itself in the wellness of your mind, your body as well as your spirit. There are some religious connotations to believing the law of attraction, where in Mark 11:24, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Many of the psychological lessons are deceptively simple. In fact, they are so simple that you can easily grasp its core concepts in school. By learning them, you can get rid of your own biases and get to be better thinkers as you get older. What are other psychological lessons you think you were not taught in school? Please let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel in case you don't want to miss out on some amazing lessons on psychology such as this one. And if you hit that bell icon, you will be notified of each video we put. Please show your support to our work by giving this video a thumbs up. In the meanwhile, you can watch the video on the screen.